All right, welcome to the Oregon Ducks Live on the Voice of College Football. I'm Bjorn Bergstrom.
And I'm Brennan Everly.
All right, we're missing Brody Gobler because he's sick. I'm also kind of sick. We're
Starting
expecting
to get
Brody to
better.
be in the we're expecting Brody to be in the chat, so he'll still join us a little bit. On this podcast, we'll be talking about we're going to be reviewing quick review on the Oregon JMU. We didn't get to touch on that yet, and then we're going to be talking about some kind of some news that came out around the Ducks program, and then we're going to be ultimately reviewing Oregon versus Texas Tech, and then kind of making our best bets for that, and then reviewing the other college football playoff games. All right, you ready to get into it?
Yep, I'm ready.
All righty. So Oregon versus JMU, it was 51-34. Oregon came away with the win. They advanced to the quarterfinals. First half was all Ducks. It was 34-6 at the half. They scored on the first 5 possessions. I mean, they held JMU to 6 points. That's all you can ask for. But the mood after the game wasn't great. I mean, because it was largely because of the second half. JMU ended up with 34 points, over 500 yards. They left their starters in. The Ducks kind of had some second and third string guys rotating in. They had a 99-yard drive in the fourth quarter that ate up a lot of yards, a lot of time. So the mood ultimately by Dan Lanning wasn't great after. Just was disappointed by the effort, didn't finish second half. That was kind of the mood for a lot of the players as well. They knew that it wasn't up to the standard that they normally have. So it's kind of an interesting, dichotomy of the highs of advancing in the playoffs and then the lows of not playing to your potential. Brendan, I'm interested in like how much weight does that hold going into the next round, that second half letdown?
It holds a little bit of weight. I mean, I will say like it's momentum. A lot of sports is just carrying momentum through games. I mean, we saw that last year with the Ducks football team. I mean, they beat Ohio State, felt like it was unstoppable. Carried momentum throughout the rest of the year, winning a lot of games. But it feels like we shouldn't be too worried about it. Our team played phenomenal in the first half. I think also second half, we were putting in second and third string guys. These are guys that are, not always getting reps next to each other in practice because, when you have an elite defense, like you want all of your guys to be on the same page. So they're constantly working together. And so I think there was a bit of a mismatch issue, which I think definitely played a big role. With a starting corner in and then a secondary and then a second string safety in and then a second string defensive lineman in with next to the starting edge. There was just a little bit of too much mix and match, which I think affected our defense quite a bit in the second half. And our offense wasn't great at all. We still had starters in. I think part of that, though, was I think Stein kind of closed the playbook a little bit. And, Davison was injured a little bit. And it was kind of more just like, hey, let's just conserve the ball. Like, let's not turn the ball over and just, wind the clock out. But you still want to see the Oregon explosive offense that we know we have and drive down the field and kind of beat up on this, poor JMU team who they did not look good in the first half. I mean, offensively, they actually looked not bad. They kind of got unlucky in a way. I mean, we blocked a kick and they scored 6 points, but it felt like there was a world where they put up 21. And then we're talking about a different game here. If they did end up putting that 21 in the first half, it'd be a much closer game. But I think that also would affect the second half substantially, like how Oregon played. So it's hard to really tell. But we go in and play against a good Texas Tech team next or just in 2 days, which we'll touch on. But I don't know. I can't really imagine that you can take away too much from it. I mean, obviously Dan wants to be a dominant program and just win constantly and dominate. I mean, everybody knows that good teams win, but great teams cover the spread. And Oregon didn't cover the spread, and that was something that people were like, "Huh," but we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's the thing where a lot of people like probably turned off the TV and kind of wrote it in as a Ducks win, Ducks blowout win, and it turned out to be, I mean, 3 scores. That's still considered a blowout, but it wasn't necessarily a dominant effort for 60 minutes. It was 30 minutes of dominant effort. But I think it's kind of the best case scenario for Lanning. You get to motivate this group. You get to kind of wake them up. They didn't play to their standard, and you let them know that, and there's a lot on film to correct, even though you won. And that's just it upholds the excellence of the Orgeon program that, we won, but it still wasn't good enough. And it's not going to be good enough to beat Texas Tech. It's not going to be good enough to beat Indiana and Ohio State to make a run, to win the national championship, which is the ultimate goal. It just wasn't good enough at all.
No, I agree. That's a good point. Dan is known for being an excellent motivator, which I almost think that maybe it was a good thing that there's a bit of a fuel to add to the fire for this next game coming up. But I don't know. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I wouldn't say I'm like nervous. I wasn't really nervous playing against JMU. Last year I was nervous playing against Ohio State, which very warranted, clearly. But this year, I can't. I don't really feel like Texas Tech, brings me worry. But we'll see. We'll get into that a little bit later. But
yeah. So you touched on it a little bit. The offense wasn't up to standard. Dante threw 2 picks, one in the red zone where it was a free blitzer, not on the offensive line. It was on him, and he kind of just floated it out there. It kind of just fluttered. Do you take anything of like the 2 picks into account at all?
You can, sure. I know me and Brady were at the game, and Brady was very, very adamant that it was the right read because he was open. But I couldn't disagree with Brady more. He was very wrong. I don't really know why you're throwing to the third guy out. The farthest throw, because he was on the left hash.
It's
the farthest throw on the field to make, and it was like a hitch. And it was like, you don't have the arm strength, like off your back foot with a blitzer in your face, and that really could have affected the game if he pick-sixed it, which I can't remember what he did. I think he took it pretty far.
Yeah, he got caught, but he took it pretty far.
Yeah, but again, you know what I mean? Like one of those things, it's like, that's momentum that we cannot, have happen in these other games. Like we can't have that momentum shift. But I will say, for the most part, Dante all year has been very cool and composed under pressure. And I can't imagine he was feeling too much pressure in the moment. It was more of just like hey, like let's give my guy a chance, but then not realizing that it's it doesn't not giving him a chance at all. But turnovers are a slight concern for me. When we had Dante coming into this year, that was my biggest everybody I didn't know what to expect with Dante Moore. Everybody was pretty hyped for him. I was excited for him. I thought he was going to be very talented. He's one of the more talented quarterbacks Oregon's had in a long time, just arm talent wise, and clearly the composure. But I think the turnovers was something that I was always concerned about. And Will Stein, his offense, it's really hard to turn the ball over. We've seen that with, Bo and Dylan Gabriel. Like those guys did not turn the ball over at all. And it feels like with Dante, he's more willing to push the ball down the field. So there's a bit more of an opportunity for that. But I wouldn't be too worried about it. Our biggest thing, though, against Texas Tech is that we got to not turn the ball over. Oregon is undefeated with 1 turnover or less, and Texas Tech is undefeated with, I believe, 1 or 2 turnovers. So it's just a matter of us not turning the ball over, and I think we'll win the game.
Yeah. I wanted to focus on something that you touched on, which is the trust that Dante had for his receiver in that moment. Those receivers have earned that trust. Malik Benson stepped up once again. He had 119 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's good.
Jeremiah McClellan, 6 for 83 and a touchdown. And then Jamari Johnson, tight end, stepped up once again. That 41-yard touchdown on the first drive, the one-handed grab. That's just one of the best catches that any guys made this season. And that's with Sadiq catching 2 balls for 19 yards. And the way the defense reacts to him is it opens up everything for everybody else. And that was with DeCorian Moore. He caught 1 pass. Gary Bryant had a couple snaps here and there. So those guys didn't really have a huge impact, but it just shows the depth of the receiving core.
Yeah. It shows that when you have a really impactful player, you look at a guy like Jeremiah Smith, because we've all seen what he did last year in the playoffs against Texas, and then in the Natty, where he would just impact the game so much. he draws 3 defensive players to him every single time. It's almost like he's like a gravitational pull. And that's kind of what Sadiq does for us in a way. He brings in 2 guys to kind of, guard him, and then plus he's, affecting the defensive end on their side. Like it's really important what he does, whether he's making an impact on the stat sheet or not. It needs to be noticed that he gets guys open because he's on the field. But no, yeah, everybody's been playing good receiving core wise. I mean, that's always kind of our big question, is how our receiving core is going to hold up. But Benson has turned into our number 1 receiver. Like, he's our number 1 receiver right now, without a doubt. Dak Moore, I would love to see more from him. I want him to step up. I think these next few games, well, hopefully next few games, he can, kind of prove it. I've, had my opinions on him, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the future. But, Jamar Johnson was, again, phenomenal. Like, he's a guy that he's shown us week in, week out that he's a guy that we can rely on. McClellan as well, another guy, like, and plus we'll be getting Gary Bryant and Dak Moore back into the offense. It's going to be exciting to see. A little unfortunate that Eastu is out. He's been downgraded to out for this game, which we'll talk about again later. But just something to talk about when we're talking about the receivers.
Yeah, I mean, with both those tight ends, it puts the defense in a bind of, like, it's in those 12 personnel packages. Do you bring a dime package on the field because Sadiq can act as a wide receiver and they split him out wide just as much as he is inside? Or do you bring an extra linebacker in, D-end in, to kind of load the box and stop the run, because he is such a good run blocker. So that just adds to, there's so many dimensions that he has. And that's the nature of a true, like, tight end. That's a Gronk style tight end where he can do both, split out wide, block guys in the run game. I mean, Gronk's one of the best run blockers in NFL history from a tight end position. And Sadiq, I mean, he's pancaked guys, walking in the open field, and the receivers too. It's a real group effort that you don't see from a lot of programs. And that goes back to Dan Lanning's mentality of just everybody competing. You don't get the rock unless you block. And it's a great program with that unselfishness.
It's a good way to go, because that really also opens up our run game. Like, if our receivers are out there blocking, our tight ends are out there blocking, like, it, there's a much higher chance for somebody to break a big run, which is, good. Like, all these guys want to win. And I think that's a good point. Like, it's just so effective offensively, whether they're not on the stat sheet. Throwing blocks is a huge, huge part of the game.
Yeah. We can transition into our best bets. So for these, mine obviously did not hit. I predicted that the Ducks would go under 411 and a half total yards. They had over 500 yards.
Here's the updated.
Yeah, here we go. So me and Brody are 2-3. Brendan is nailing these at 4-1. Brendan, what was your best bet?
Mine was, hold on, let me double check. It was over 164.5 rush yards, which did hit in the first half. So that was good to see. I was not sweating that one out the rest of the game. That was nice I just felt like, as a better team, like, you're just going to run the ball down their throat. And our guys are so explosive that it feels like every single week, it's almost like the guys on FanDuel don't watch Oregon football games and just, like, give us ridiculously low yardage lines and rush lines. And I just feel like I've been exploiting that in a way, which, if you're betting along, you're probably pretty happy with it.
Yeah. And they did that on only 26 carries too. I mean, the Ducks only had 53 offensive plays. That's less than an average game. 26 carries for 201 yards, 7.7 yards per carry. I was a little surprised that they didn't run it more in the second half. They were still throwing it with Dante. I mean, those 2 picks, red zone, they're inside the 10, inside the 15. They're throwing far hash. I think you just hand it off and run for the touchdown.
That's what I was just, like, a little bit confused. I'm like, what is Stein doing? Like, he called a phenomenal first half. I mean, it almost couldn't be any better. Like, genuinely the best game he's called. And then the second half, you're just like, what are we doing? Like, certain guys getting touches that, like, there's nothing wrong with some of these younger guys getting touches. It's just like in the red zone, Dante Moore, like we don't need him to be throwing the ball. Like, sure, you maybe want to pad his stats or something, but just run the ball with Davison. Like, do what works. Do what's been working. Do what nobody in the country can stop. And it feels like that's something that they kind of just didn't do. Maybe they're trying to set things up for in the future, but it seems a little strange to do. But I don't know. I'm not in the offensive coordinator room. But
the passing. I mean, it was pretty bland in the second half. It was like bland concepts. It wasn't anything special. But it just wasn't. I just don't know why they were still going through the air. You could just pound it with Davison, and that's something to watch. Is that he had 10 carries for 90 yards. He was the leading rusher. Noah Whittington 4 for 24. So he didn't really have a big impact. It was Davison who kind of stepped up. And
Deer Hill also had a big game.
Yeah, Deer had 6 for 76 and a touchdown.
But I think he also had some
catch for 40.
Yeah, he had some receiving yards there.
Yeah, he had a big screen. But those are, I mean, that's something to watch for sure as the stage gets bigger. Is it like, do they keep going with the freshmen who are performing very well? I think Whittington's still going to stay as the first drive starter, but
I would agree.
Yeah, but Davison's got the top level talent, and Dier's got the speed that matches up with these defenses.
They're both phenomenal. But I think the thing with Whittington is he's like experienced. He's been in there. He's been with the program for so long that like he knows what's going on. Like he's a leader in that regard, and he's just honestly a pretty good dude. So I think that's an important role. He's also very talented. He's also a talented running back. He's just splitting reps with two of the best freshmen in the country when it comes to running the ball. But I do agree. I think towards the end of the season here, we'll probably see more Davison, more Deer Hill, just because, as freshmen kind of, figure out who they are, especially getting these extra games, I think their impact is going to be just massive.
Yeah, I mean, we can put it this way. Noah Whittington is he's a fringe draft pick guy. Deer Hill and Jordan Davison are day 2. I mean, they're so early in their careers, but they're day 2 like guys when they're going to declare. That's their talent level.
They would be day 1, day 2 guys probably right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Talent wise.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas I think Noah is probably a 5th to 7th round guy, which that is good. I mean, we've seen what Bucky Irving has done, what some of these other guys have done in the NFL, and you can definitely produce and become a really talented running back. I just don't know if he's going to be as highly coveted as Davis and Deer Hill. So I think that's going to kind of show up.
Yeah, one against this Texas Tech defense, which we'll get into, the talent level, the agility, strength, it's all tip-top level, and you need that from those running backs too. And not saying Whittington doesn't have that. It's just that the ceiling is much higher for Hill and Davison.
Yeah.
But Brody, so back to the betting, Brody nailed his, got from 1-3 to 2-3. He bet -6.5 Oregon second quarter, which they outscored them 21-3. So that blew it away.
That one smacked.
Yeah,
shout out Brady. Brady got a big. He's off the schneid. He's been struggling a little bit there.
Yeah. Now he's tied with me, so I gotta get a win.
Bjorn, I'm not gonna lie. I before we went on the podcast and Bjorn told us his bet, I was like, Bjorn, what are we doing here? I have to make sure that people know that me and Brady were flaming you for it, because I almost took Oregon over 450 plus, or it was like Oregon 475 plus yards, which was like plus 200. I was like, that feels free. But then I heard Bjorn go, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna take it over." I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta change it up."
I thought the pace would be. I thought that JMU would be able to run the ball a little bit, which I mean, they did.
But it was towards the end of the game.
The second half. Yeah.
Yeah, which at that point
I didn't anticipate. Yeah, I didn't anticipate 5 straight scoring possessions right out the gate for the Ducks.
We've done it before, actually, quite a few times this year. Like that's something that we've been surprisingly good at, is just having a really quick and consistent offense. I mean, we did it against Oklahoma State. Granted, these are not great teams, but we did it against Oklahoma State and Rutgers and somebody else. So it's been done before. So I think that was my thought process. But anyways, we can move on.
Yeah. I thought JMU would be a little better, and they bounced back in the second half, albeit
They did
against
against our
backups.
backups.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah. Which they got some good film out there, and they all entered the transfer portal, so that was great for them.
Good. Yeah, good for them.
Um,
Speaking of the portal,
yeah. Speaking of the portal, a couple prominent Ducks entered the portal. There's 7 in all right now, 5 DBs and Justice Lowe, and then Austin Novosad was one of the prominent ones, along with safety Kingston Lopa. Novosad was kind of expected. He was in a competition for the starting job with Moore. I mean, however much you want to take that wording into account, it was always going to be Moore. But he was the backup against Montana State. Came in, threw a 40-yarder, and he was 1 for 2 for 40 yards. That turned out to be his only 2 pass attempts this year. And then when Moore got injured against Wisconsin, it was Brock Thomas who came in, not Novosad, which sparked a lot of questions to Dan Lanning, a lot of thoughts around Novosad's future, and so it's kind of expected.
Yeah, I kind of wish Brady was in here because Brady loves Brock Thomas. He's met the guy a few times, but no, it felt like Austin Novosad lost the job to Dante. Lost the job. I don't think it was ever really Austin's job to take. But I just, I'm not gonna lie. The as soon as I saw, that we flipped him from Baylor, 2-3 years ago, I watched this film and I was like, this kid's never gonna play at Oregon, and it feels like another Jay Butterfield, Ty Thompson type of guy that you bring in. You're like, okay, hold on, he's a 4-star, got some hype, and then they just couldn't figure it out. But I think Austin Novosad's a little bit more talented than some of those other guys, and I think he can go somewhere and go compete for a job. Maybe go to Kentucky, start there, go play under Stein. I don't know how much Stein loves him, considering he was still a backup. They're still the 3rd string, arguably 4th string. Because Luke Moga even got some play, but Brock Thomas was kind of the certified backup. But
yeah, I think it with how many quarterbacks are entering the portal, it kind of clouds the entire kind of vision for Novosad, because he doesn't have the established film on the field at the college level. While there's 10 to 15 guys, starters, who are entered the portal from Power 4, high Group of 5 programs that are looking for a starting job, and there's just not enough. There's not enough out there for all of them to start. So I think, Kentucky's an option. I think a group of 5 is also an option for sure if he wants to go start somewhere. If there's a vacant spot, and if he wants to go compete for a spot, I think that would be the best option for him.
Yeah, I would agree.
Kingston Lopa also, like I mentioned, 6'5" safety, 210. So he's super rangy, super long, versatile, but just couldn't find the field. Aaron Flowers beat him out for the spot. Dylan Thieneman as well. He was kind of expected going into the season to have a big impact, but it turned out to be Flowers who stepped up alongside Thieneman.
He was a redshirt freshman, a redshirt sophomore, something like that. He's a young kid, he's got a lot of potential. The dude's gonna probably be a beast somewhere.
Redshirt freshman, so he'll have 3 years.
He's gonna go probably go somewhere and be pretty good. It kind of reminds me of Dante Thornton. Granted, different positions, but a couple years ago, Dante Thornton, he actually had a pretty good impact on the Ducks team, unlike Kingston Lopa. But he'll probably go somewhere, probably an SEC school or something, and just probably become a beast. It's just how it is. It's just we have a really crowded DB room. It's just loaded with talent, and every year we're just replenishing. Soon we're gonna have
Jet Washington,
5 stars across the board. Yeah, Jet Washington's gonna be a beast.
Yep.
But also we're getting Brew back, Dorian Brew from injury, right? No, sorry, that Trey McNutt's coming back from injury, which he was getting a lot of hype about getting some playing time. We still got Neem Oford, Dorian Brew, another guy, Iffy, Brandon Finney. It's just loaded. We'll probably get some guys in the portal at some point.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they could dip into the portal like they did with Thieneman.
Yeah.
Because, he's the blueprint's there for safety to come in and just contribute.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah. So another bit of news was former Oregon head coach Chip Kelly got hired by Northwestern, a fellow Big Ten school. So he was the OC at Ohio State, helped lead him to the national championship in 2024. A really explosive offense, spearheaded by their rushing attack with Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, which you can debate how much that is coaching or just individual talent with the O line and the running backs there. But that got him hired by the Las Vegas Raiders as the offensive coordinator because they wanted to kind of highlight Ashton Genty in the run game. He lasted 11 games before being fired. They averaged 15 points. They're last in the NFL in scoring. So Chip Kelly, there were reports that he interviewed for the Georgia Tech offensive coordinator position. Obviously didn't get that. So he lands at Northwestern. What's your take on that, Brendan?
Chip Kelly's an interesting one because I actually do think he's a really good offensive mind. Like, he's actually really good. I mean, talk about the Raiders, like, who knows how much of it was really his fault. I mean, I know he was trying to do something stupid with changing Genty's stance or whatever, and it was just like, come on, dude, move on. Like, this isn't the olden days, which I thought was ridiculous. Why Chip Kelly would do that. But Chip's been known for having really explosive offenses. And no offense to the Raiders, they don't have any explosive players. I mean, Genty is an explosive player, but like, I wouldn't really consider him to be like an explosive player. Like, he's just more of an all-around guy who's just gonna get the job done. He's not a Quinshon Judkins who's gonna just rip off a run to the house. Back when
I think Kelly was really hamstrung by the offensive line. The Raiders' offensive line was really bad this year, and the Ducks, when he was the head coach, was a great offensive line.
Oregon's always had great offensive lines. Like, I cannot stress this enough. It's kind of unbelievable. It's genuinely unbelievable. But I think it's a good hire for him. I saw something earlier that Chip Kelly just I know some people who used to play for Chip Kelly back in the day, some offensive linemen. They didn't really love Chip Kelly. He doesn't do a good job of building any sort of he's not very good at building like a sense of community. He doesn't really want to connect with any of the kids. I was talking about it with my dad actually, and he was saying that it almost feels like Chip Kelly just like the only reason why he likes football is because he likes to call plays. That's it. Doesn't want to build any sort of relationships with kids. Like, doesn't want to do any recruiting, anything. Like, he just wants to call plays and that's it. And Northwestern could be a good spot for that. I mean, it's not like they're really in for any recruiting for some big guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hire. It's a hire of all time. For sure. But
yeah, I mean, what you're saying with the characteristics of Chip is like that more suited towards the NFL, but obviously that hasn't worked out. It worked for a year in Philadelphia as a head coach, that the fast-paced offense, no huddle, and then the NFL figured it out when he got fired after 3 years there, and then 49ers hired him, went 2-14, and they fired him right after that. So it doesn't work in the NFL. I doubt he gets an NFL job again. I think that, I think he could build something at Northwestern.
I would agree.
But I say that with a caveat though. I don't think I almost know for certain, like, he doesn't view this as a long-term thing. I think he views Northwestern as a stepping stone towards another job, whether it's college football, head coaching job. I don't know if he even wants that because he left UCLA without being fired to become the OC at Ohio State.
I don't think
Northwestern is not the ending point for him.
No, I would agree. I don't think he wants to be a head coach. I think he just wants to be an OC somewhere and just call plays. Honestly, I don't know why he left Ohio State, because to be honest with you, he's going to be fed a lot of talent, and he doesn't really have to build relationships with any of the kids. They had Brian Hartline bringing in all of his elite receivers, and their running back coach do it, and he's getting brought in some premier talent. Which my biggest complaint with Chip Kelly when he was the head coach at Oregon was his lack of recruiting. It was kind of unbelievable for how good we were. We were landing just 3 stars, maybe a few 4 stars. It was slim pickings.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on Hartline. I think that might have been one thing that not necessarily pushed him out, because I feel like they would have welcomed him back for sure after a national championship, but you see the writing on the wall with Hartline coming through the ranks, being more known each year with the wide receiver talent that he harbors, and they hired him immediately as the play caller and offensive coordinator. So I feel
Yeah,
like
but
that. I don't know if that was I don't know if he could have stuck there for forever.
I don't know either. It's weird because like it's a pretty known fact that Brian Hartline sucks at playing calls or like at calling
Like,
plays.
yeah,
I mean, like there's a reason why he's already gone and now it's just Ryan Day doing it. Because back in the day when they had Brian Hartline calling plays, it was not good. Like their offense was abysmal, and you can even see it like this year. Ohio State's offense is kind of like not great. Like it's
it's
not
not as
bad.
explosive as it should be with the talent.
No, because even their running back Bo Jackson is that kid's a beast. Like he's really talented, and it feels like they're just not. I don't know. Every time I watch, there's a lot of 3-and-outs, and it's just like just mid. So
Yeah, there's a lot of holes you can poke in their offense, I think, which
for sure.
I mean, you could have said that last year though with Will Howard as the guy, but I think it was centered around Will Howard and just
Yeah,
can
but
he prove it? And the other guys on the offense, there were no questions about. It was just a quarterback.
as the thing is as much as I hate Will Howard because I think he's just a kind of a loser, he's just a bum. But like he still was like a good leader. Like objectively, he's a good leader and he has like good characteristics. It's not like he was a phenomenal quarter. Like it's not like he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna like just torch your favorite team, and throw for 500 yards. But he was able to he was able to make the right plays when they needed him. And he was a good mobile running back or a good mobile runner, which really was an important part of their offense. To be honest with you, like his running game was really important. And the thing with Chip Kelly is when you look at the way he runs his offenses, he loves his QBs that can run. Back in the day, Marcus Mariota, and then he hasn't really had one since. And Will Howard, we kind of got a taste of it, and he was really successful. So I think maybe that's also another part, because I mean he's got Geno Smith in the NFL. Geno Smith can't run, so
Yeah,
that's part of it. I think also with him for him to be successful, he needs to have a quarterback that can run. But
yeah,
Will Howard was good enough. He was a good college quarterback, kind of like Dylan Gabriel. They were pretty similar, I thought, in my opinion. Like both good leaders. Weren't super talented, but they could get the job done.
yeah,
But we'll see.
yeah. And related to Northwestern, their quarterback Preston Stone, he's a senior, so he'll be gone. So they'll have to have another guy come in, and yeah, I think it's important that it's a dual threat guy who can run kind of a spread offense.
Yes.
I think Kelly evolved though with Ohio State because it was more of a power rushing attack. But I think at his best with the kind of lack of talent that Northwestern has, it's best as a fast-paced offense. And their running back Caleb Komolafe came on late in the season.
Yeah, he's
with
not bad.
injuries.
Not bad.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. That should be one. I think that should be one of his top like calls right now. Once he gets the job, is to keep Komolafe. Tell him that he's gonna feed him carries next year when he'll be a junior.
I think somebody else, just kind of a name. I mean, he's a bit of a interesting name, but I think a name that could the first thing that came to mind of a guy that was in the portal that I thought was reasonable enough for Northwestern to land that could be really good with Chip Kelly was Aiden Childs. Aiden Childs, I think, would be a phenomenal pickup for Northwestern just because he is a mobile dual threat guy. And, I mean, he's a Oregon State legend, Michigan State legend. Dude's bounced around, really hasn't found a home. And, with Chip Kelly could probably do something with him. We'll see. I don't know if they'll go out there and land him. I don't know what kind of, interest Aiden Childs or like what kind of schools are interested in Aiden Childs or what, but it could be a fun experiment.
That's a good name to list because he is super talented. He's a 4-star coming out. He's one of the highest rated Oregon State quarterbacks to commit there, and he committed because of Jonathan Smith, who is a quarterback developer in name, not quite in product on the field. He hasn't done that, but I mean, yeah, that's a good name too that we could watch out for. There's also so many other quarterbacks in the portal. Like I said, there's a lot of landing spots, a lot of guys in the portal. So I think they'll get someone. They shouldn't sweat that too much, but it just matters if he can run Kelly's offense.
Yeah.
So more on Evan Stewart. So Brendan kind of touched on that, but Evan Stewart was ruled out in the initial Monday injury report. Dak Moore and Gary Bryant were off of it, so they will be good to go. But Evan Stewart, I mean, it's an interesting situation because there was a lot of buzz that he could even return against Minnesota. That was in November. That was early November. And that was like Pete Thamel, like ESPN reported that he might be available against Minnesota. So that's a real source. And now it's kind of radio silence about what his status is, if he's going to play at all this season. And Dan Lanny's kind of said like his injury progress it's progressing to the point where they hope to see him on the field, but obviously at this point I'd be surprised if he even does touch the field.
Yeah, I don't know, because like he can play these games and he won't burn a red shirt. Like these games, they count towards, or like they don't count towards any sort of red shirt. So like I don't know why you wouldn't just go out there and play, because I mean, I guess we can talk about it, but like some of the buzz is that because I know that he addressed the media for the first time, which I believe was today or yesterday, something like that. But basically, he was talking about how like, you know, his future, he doesn't really know where it lies, but there's a good chance he comes back to college. But basically, that was a summary of what he was saying. But you know, when he said he goes back to college, he didn't say he goes back to Oregon, which, you know, people are like, huh, is he looking to hit the portal? And so there's a little bit of buzz around him probably hitting the portal, which would be kind of unfortunate because we really didn't get to see much of, you know, who he was, and he's a very talented player. I hope he doesn't hit the portal, but supposedly Oregon is not willing to pony up a ton of money just because, again, like the dude hasn't played, you know. And
they shouldn't be. They shouldn't feel like they have to, you know, pay him $1 million, use that much NIL to keep him. They don't need him, and they've shown that this season.
Mm-hmm.
And with Benson having so much success, like this is going to be a portal destination, especially if Dante stays, because guys are going to want to catch passes from Dante.
I would agree, and even if we go out there and land a guy like Dylan Raiola, like guys are still going to want to come to go play at Oregon. Like they know that we're going to be good. And also another name that's fun to talk about is Cam Coleman entering the portal, which is kind of crazy news. I mean, I saw like all the Auburn guys commenting on his post yesterday. I saw like what's his name? Eric Singleton, I think is his name, who's another one of the really good receivers. He's another one of the really good receivers. And then I saw Deuce Knight commenting, and then lo and behold, I wake up this morning and I see Deuce Knight hop in the portal. I was like, oh, Auburn's it's going downhill for Auburn real quick.
Not great.
Yeah, which I don't know. Deuce Knight's another name to throw out there in the Oregon buzz. You know, come to Oregon, come sit behind Dante Moore for potentially another year, or even Dylan Raiola. Man, we've had success with QBs, but yeah, I don't know. We will see. And then Brady Gobler is finally spoken. And he is saying, "Can we talk about how fraudulent the SEC is?" We've been talking about how fraudulent the SEC is for months now. They're not good. Tennessee getting beat by Illinois, who's known to be like our mid-tier school. Tennessee is kind of a mid-tier school this year for the SEC, but still, like.
Well, how about so Brody's saying this. I think he's talking in one side of his mouth. He's talking about how fraudulent the SEC is, and another he's talking about how strong the Big Ten is. USC just lost to TCU, and they're back.
They lost
in overtime. Yeah, they just scored in overtime.
What? Oh my god!
They were down. It was 24-14, and it went to overtime.
One bull pick is absolutely cooked.
I know, me too. I've been glancing up at it.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm a very
sideline.
Avid USC hater, so I kind of like to see that. Even though they're in the Big Ten, it's USC and UW, man. Never gonna root for them. Never ever.
Yeah, well, good for you, but you picked them.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
But to be fair, USC. If you want, you should go. Somebody should go take a look at USC's like injury report for this game. I know, Joe, think they had over 20 guys out. And they were like most of them are starters. It was kind of hilarious.
Yeah,
I went in because my dad was showing me because we were just laughing at it because we hate USC and we're like, oh my god, look at how sad this program is. Like
Yeah,
You have
okay.
to re-sign all your
So
players, and then you gotta lose 20
yeah,
plus guys in a bowl
the
game. Come on.
graphics with the re-signed behind them. It's like the
Yeah,
NFL
it's like,
stuff. It's
dude, what are we
weird.
doing? They're a
Okay,
joke over
okay,
there.
Brandon, hold up. So remember Tanook Hines against USC or against
Yeah,
Oregon? He had over
yeah,
100
yeah.
yards. He had 6 catches for 163 in this game. I think
No,
he's a
that's
guy he's a true freshman. I
he's
think he's a
good.
guy he's gonna be great next year. I mean, Lemon and
I,
Lane are gonna be gone.
well,
But
and that's the
yeah,
thing.
he's
It's
just
like
so
it's tough to
talented.
sniff the field when you're playing behind both of those guys who are very talented. Those guys can be good in the NFL as well. Like
Yeah.
that kid's a stud. Like he's a
Yeah.
dangerous player.
Yeah. And the
Do not
reason
want
he
to
went
see
off
him again
against
next year.
Yeah, and he went off against Oregon because they did so well against. They put so much attention against Lemon and Lane. They
Yep.
took Lane out in between the 20s. He had a couple red zone catches, and then Lane got some fade balls, but still the attention was so much on those two, and
On those two.
they took them away
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, held them to 27 points. That's a win against USC.
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, we can transition into Texas Tech preview because that's kind of
It's the big
related
one.
to that. They have four, I think it's 4 guys over 600 receiving yards. So they have a bunch of talent at the receiving position. They don't have really a tip top level talent guy. I would say that Caleb Douglas is their go to guy. He's explosive.
Yeah.
He's not super special, not a game breaker, not a game wrecker like Jeremiah Smith is. Obviously, nobody is, but yeah. So real quick on their offense, they're second in scoring, 28th in rushing, 10th in passing in the nation. Baron Morton's a quarterback. He's been there 5 years. He's as steady as it comes. Talent wise, he's not super talented, but he gets the job done. He has only 4 picks to 22 touchdowns this year. He's safe with the ball, precision passer, very accurate. Just gets the job done. He spreads the ball around to his playmakers. And then Cameron Dickey and Jacoby Williams are the running backs. Sophomore Dickey, freshman Williams. Cam Dickey's the go-to. He's a bell cow. He's over 1,000 yards. He's a little bit bigger, 215 pounds, so he'll run through guys. He can also run away. He's got speed. He's super talented. But Jacoby Williams is the explosive back. He's a guy who can break a home run whenever he gets the ball. Yeah. And so, Brendan, how can what's the game plan against the Texas Tech guys? Is it take away the run, make them pass, or is it hope that they?
I would say the first thing you touched on is the right approach. Take away the run, force them to pass the ball. Our DBs are young, but they're good in coverage, and I don't think that their quarterback is great. He's all right, but he's not great, and I think he's due to make a mistake, maybe 2 in this game, which will really cost them. I think because our offense has been so sound. Like in the same breath, you could just say our game plan is just to outscore them, which kind of makes sense. Like that's how you win a football game. You score more points than their team. But our offense just needs to be on. And that's gonna be a hard thing because they got a really good defense, which we'll touch on. But something else I need to highlight on this, this Texas Tech offense is Coy Eakin. He's a receiver who's not he's a pretty big dude, 6'2", 210. But if you've watched Oregon this year, struggled against the white receivers, and it feels like he's a guy that just is always open. For whatever reason, he's just one of those guys that is just open 24/7. And it seems, if you go back even to the Montana State game, they had that one dude who was torching us. The guys that aren't like super explosive deep threats, but the guys that are just open.
It's the crafty route runners.
Exactly. I couldn't think of the word, but that he's one of those guys, but he's also a bigger guy. I think he's going to be a kind of an impact guy against us. Hopefully not, but so a name to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and it's not his first time making an impact for the Red Raiders. He's over 400 yards in all 3 seasons that he's been there. 15 total touchdowns in 3 years. So it's nothing new that he's making an impact. And yeah, I mean he's probably the third option out wide, which makes him so dangerous because they can
for sure.
The other guys are going to be the emphasis for the Ducks. It'll be interesting if they put like any extra attention on any certain guys, whether it's Douglas, Eakin too. I think that's something to watch, or they just play it kind of base defense. Reggie Virgil is also pretty good. Terrence Carter, the tight end, he has over 500 yards receiving. So they're well rounded.
They are. Do you know if Micah Hudson is hurt? Because there's a lot of buzz around him. He's a former like 5-star, like a big time 5-star receiver recruit. And then I remember because in the summer he hopped in the portal, went to Texas or Texas A&M, was there for 2 weeks, and then did he go to UW for a little while and then leave there and then go back to Texas Tech? Hold on, I need to look this up because there was his name was all over the place.
Yeah, his game log has him as he played the first 2 games, and then there's a month and a half absence before he played another 2, and then a 3-week absence before he played another. Okay. So I mean, it seems like I don't want to say it's a Jurion Dickey situation, but it seems like a talented guy who doesn't quite know how to be a professional.
Yeah, because I know that he did go to Texas A&M in the late 2024, and then in December or something he flipped and he hit the portal and went to Texas A&M, and then he left Texas A&M in January 2025 for personal reasons, and then entered the portal again, and then back to Texas Tech. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we see an impact from him. But I mean, they have enough outside of him, obviously.
I was just wondering because I saw his name on the roster.
Yeah. Which guy do you think the Oregon defense should hone in on the most?
Just in terms of their offense?
Yeah, the offensively.
I mean, like I said, I think the key to stopping them is the run game. The run game is really limiting the run game is going to be really important. But again, Caleb Douglas is their number 1 receiver. I would say you limit the run game, and then you can kind of figure it out at halftime if they're torching us in the air at all, if they're torching us on the ground. It feels like a game that's going to be just adjustment based, depending on what they're doing. You have a lot of time to prepare. They might come out a little bit flat-footed, which I'm kind of hoping, so that the NCAA can fix the playoff format, because it's a joke that we've got teams waiting almost a month to play a football game, which is just ridiculous. It happened to us last year. Very unfortunate. But I hope the first half we can go out there and dominate. That'd be nice. That way we can kind of smooth sail the rest of the game. Not do what we did against JMU, but kind of just smooth sail. Go up by maybe 2 touchdowns by halftime, and then kind of just be conservative, because we're gonna be a lot better if we're on the ground, if we're running the ball. Their defense is gonna get tired. They might not be as well conditioned. I mean, something else that's not necessarily talked about is with Texas Tech being out for almost a month of not playing, their guys are going to struggle with tackling a little bit. The live reps are completely different than practice reps. And the other thing is Oregon's number 2s on our team are also very, very good, whereas Texas Tech doesn't have nearly as much depth as Oregon does.
Yeah. So
not even just in game does that have an impact, but also in practices that has a serious impact. If you're going up against, if you're a 5-star freshman and you're not even playing, you're going up against, a really good receiver who's been there for 2 or 3 years, like Benson. You're putting our 1 defense versus our 2 offense, and it's still just our offensive line is very talented still. Our running backs are still really good. And so it's just one of those things where it's just, does that play a role? I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it will, but we'll see. I really hope the first half goes well, though. That's the main approach. We can adjust to the second half.
Yeah, I think those first couple of drives will tell a lot of the story about, the rest versus rust kind of debate about, it's a month off. Are you rusty, or do you come out firing because of the rest? And the Ducks, they got 10 days off from the win. That's enough rest. that's definitely enough rest. That's a bye week, normal bye week during the season, basically.
Yeah.
So I think they're set up well for success, and it'll be more interesting to see how Texas Tech comes out of the gates.
I mean, that's something that I've noticed with Dan. My only knock on him as a head coach is how, I guess, how poor our team performs after extended, like after bye weeks, after long times off, and we saw it last year against Ohio State. But even in our bye games, or after a bye week, it always feels like I'm kind of on the ropes about this game. Like it's gonna be a trap game coming off a bye, whereas it shouldn't be. Coming off a bye, you should be good to go. Like you should be ready to come out firing. That's my biggest complaint. Whereas, I think Indiana, with the way that Kurt Signetti runs his program, like they're going to go out there and slaughter Alabama because of how good Kurt Signetti is at getting his team ready to go for after a bye week. And so that's my only knock on Dan is hopefully that we've kind of moved past that, and hopefully he's learned from some of these tough losses. But
yeah, speaking of the bye week kind of woes for the Ducks, just looking at this year, they came out of the bye after beating Penn State and just lost to Indiana. They came out. The first half wasn't bad. First half wasn't terrible, but
it wasn't good enough though.
It definitely wasn't good enough. And it was a surprise loss, which at the time it's the best loss in the country right now. But
it didn't like I went to game day, didn't even consider the fact that we were going to lose. I was like, oh yeah, we'll probably win this game by like 10 plus points. And then I think that's when Kurt Signetti came out there and beat us, and the whole country went, whoa, this is a good team. This is not last year's Indiana. This is a new team.
Yeah, so. And then the next bye week was at Iowa, which we knew coming into that game that it was going to be a hard fought game.
But again,
but they came out flat. They didn't score for the first couple possessions. It was a real slog of a game.
And even if you go look at the year before, and then even the year before that, it's just like, you can't really say the first game of the season is a bye week, but it kind of is in a way. Like, guys, you got to be ready. If you remember his very first game against Georgia, we got absolutely slaughtered, and it was like, whoa, we had some excitement for this team. Like, it wasn't a bad Oregon team by any means. Like, the team actually ended up being pretty good, and so it was just kind of like, what? So I think that is something that Dan needs to kind of figure out. That's my biggest knock on him is how can he get our guys ready? I don't think it's like a necessarily like a coaching thing. It's just more of like a game planning thing. Like, just what are we doing during this time period? And then like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, he said he switched up some of the like practicing, like scheduling kind of stuff, preparation, because of the Ohio State game. He said that going into JMU, this is a bit of a different,
that's good,
different circumstance with 10 days in between. But you hope that they figure it out and they come out faster than Texas Tech, who's had a month off, which is just too much time. But
ridiculous.
So moving on to their Texas Tech's defense. They're great on this side of the ball, and we can debate how much of that is being in the Big 12, which I think I forgot to touch on this offensively for them, is that they are in the Big 12, and that's the defense is not great in the Big 12, so the stats are inflated, in my opinion, and we'll see how that plays out. But the defense is, I would argue that the defense is more for real than the offense.
For sure.
They're third in scoring, number one in rushing. They allow under 68 yards per game. 24th in passing, 6th in sacks with 39 sacks, which is just a crazy high number in 13 games. That's 3 a game. 6th in tackles for loss, and number 1 in forced turnovers with 31, which that is really a crazy number.
That's what I was talking about earlier. That's I think they have 22 forced fumbles. 22.
Yeah. Jacob Rodriguez, their linebacker, is 7 by himself.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even know, like forcing 2 or 3 in a season. I'm like, damn, that guy's having a good season. Like, he's forcing fumbles.
Right.
7? Yeah. What? Like, that kid's insane. Yeah. I don't know why he wasn't at the Heisman ceremony. Like, I know about to play them and hopefully expose them if they're playing in the Big 12. But He should have been there. I mean, that's just a phenomenal defensive season, especially from a middle linebacker. Like, the dude was nuts. And then Ben Roberts is their other middle linebacker who's probably just as good. Like, that dude's insane.
Yeah.
Like, he's a beast.
Yeah, Rodriguez had 117 total tackles, 61 solo, which is, I think, that's more impressive.
Yes. That's a very impressive number.
7 forced fumbles, like I said, 4 interceptions. So that's 11 forced turnovers. Just one guy. I mean, that's enough to get you the Heisman ceremony.
Right? You're getting a turnover a game, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like some teams don't even. I mean, the bottom teams of the FBS don't even have 11 forced turnovers, which is just. Yeah, so he's a one-man defense, but he's got guys around him. He's got guys around him too. Yeah, with David Bailey, Romello Height, pass rushing duo, they combined for 22 and a half sacks just between them. David Bailey's more of a power with speed combo kind of guy. Romello Height is 235 pounds. He's more of a speed guy, so he's more one-dimensional, but that can also be a problem against World and Harkey, who aren't the most. World's definitely not the most. He doesn't have the best agility. He's more of a power guy. I'd say Harkey's better agility wise, but still not. He's not.
The thing with Harkey is Harkey's a really elite run blocker. He's not a great pass blocker.
Yeah,
so I'm hoping that we find a way to adjust. I know, like, when Orgeon posted their uniforms for this week, which are absolutely beautiful, by the way. Oh my God, they're stunning. Gray pants, though. That's concerning. That's a concern. We do not win with gray pants. I'm hoping that we can break that. They posted it, and it was the offensive line. Which the offensive line, if we want to have success against this defense, they're gonna have to play out of their minds. And like I said, I've been stressing this a lot. Oregon's always had phenomenal offensive lines. It's time to see what these guys are made of. Go out there and go out there and manhandle 2 of the best linebackers in the country with 2 of the best edges in the country. Like, that's a scary front 7 from Texas Tech, and I think that front 7 has carried them through Big 12 play. But now that they're playing, a team that plays for a real conference, we'll see. We don't play in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I mean, Big 12 is bad, and Texas Tech's only loss. They didn't force any turnovers against Arizona State, I don't think, or they only forced 1 or something like that. And that's why they lost. Whereas Oregon, early loss was because we turn the ball over and we still win, but we just can't do it this game. So offensive line's got to really be strong here with the pass protection and the second level blocking. Of those linebackers is going to be key to our success, especially with our elite ground game. I mean, you said what? Texas Tech allows only 69 rush yards per game.
Yeah,
that's going to get slaughtered. Like, that number is going to get inflated. I think Oregon will still be able to run the ball.
Yeah, I think so. I think out of all the quarterfinals matchups, I think the biggest game within the game thing to watch is the Ducks O line against Texas Tech's D line. I think that's the biggest thing to watch. That's the biggest indicator of who wins the game, really, I think.
Yep.
If the Ducks run for 150 plus, they're going to win. I don't see them losing if that happens.
Even honestly, I think even if we turn the ball over once, we win the game with over 150 yards rushing.
Yeah. I was listening to Greg McElroy, his podcast earlier, and he brought up a stat that Oregon, if they go over 100 rushing yards in the last 2 years, they're 25-0. They're 0-2, and they don't. So I think that's the key number.
Wait, 100?
Yeah, just over 100. They're 25-0, and then 0-2 when they don't.
Who were those losses to? Oh, to Ohio State. Well, Ohio State one made
Ohio State. That one they didn't. They couldn't run the ball. The game script just flipped.
That makes sense, but it shows how important the running the ball is for us and for how we run our offense, setting up play action and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But the Texas Tech defense is for real. It's the talent. They got that oil money, the NIL. They brought in a ton of transfers, both David Bailey from Stanford and Romello Height from mean, he's been at 4 different stops in 4 years, but
Yeah,
they're
he's
super
finally found a home.
talented. Yeah, super talented guys. Their secondary it's not great. I think they benefit a lot from the edges getting pressure on the quarterbacks, which that's another thing that it all ties back together. Can the Ducks protect Dante Moore? Because if they can, I think he can carve up this defense. If they can't, I think their defense, they've shown that they're opportunistic. When the guys get pressure, they can create turnovers in the secondary, make guys hold the ball. But if Dante can get it out clean, get the ball out quick, I think he can carve up this defense. I think he could go over 300 yards. I mean, if they throw the ball enough, which you want to establish the run, and he could have some big plays to Benson. We've seen that a lot. So if we want to get into our best bets for this game.
Speaking of Benson, for the best bets, Brody again is not here, but he still has his bet, which he sent me. Hold on, let me look. Okay. I believe on FanDuel. I'm gonna double check this real quick.
All right. So mine, I'll do mine real quick.
Yeah, you're good.
I have Oregon minus 2.5. It's pretty basic, but I like Oregon with the points here. I think that the 2.5 allows for a game-winning field goal if it's tied, and in overtime if it goes overtime, a touchdown could win it if it's a field goal by Tech on the first possession. I think that's a pretty safe one, and I think there's much more of a potential of the Ducks winning by double figures than the Red Raiders winning by double figures.
I would agree. I would agree. I'm not gonna lie. I was considering putting a lot of money on this game. I still might do it. It's early. We'll see. We'll see how New Year's Eve goes. Might wake up in the morning. Might wake up in the morning and got $300 down on Oregon, and I'm gonna be like, oh no! And then I'm gonna win $300, and I'm gonna be like, yes, great decision.
Yeah, we'll see.
But with Brody's pick, his pick was, speaking of Benson, was over 35.5. He said 32.5, but I think the line's gone up just a little bit. It's 35.5 receiving yards, which
that's it.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Am I missing something? Are we gonna get Evan Stewart like playing like 35.5?
That's like a line if Dak Moore and Gary Bryant are getting like all the snaps. I don't understand that.
Even if they are, I still think that Benson is our wide receiver 1.
Which they're not going to get those snaps. Like it's going to be Benson and McClellan. They've been the 1-2 punch like the last 2 months.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, and maybe you throw Dak Moore over McClellan at some point, but Dak Moore is certainly not better than what Benson has been producing. Like just plain and simple.
Well, McClellan, I mean, he makes those incredible catches.
No, he's phenomenal. Also, I'm not
target. Like there's so many other targets that are standing out.
Yeah. No, yeah, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
That Stewart, he's not playing, but I was just, making a point that line is really, really low.
It feels like it's actually if Stewart is going to play, which
that's what I was meaning.
Yeah, we don't think he will. I mean, he's out on the availability report.
I mean, he might be transferring. I don't know, but I've heard some rumors circulating just with the staff. But yeah, I don't know. That feels like a pretty good bet from Brady, which is rare to say. Rare to see.
I mean, if he puts his hands on that, maybe it won't hit. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I went with a little bit more of an exciting one. So I took Oregon over 425 yards. I believe their line is set at 375 or 350 or something like that. And I just think they're going to put up points, whether it's going to be they're going to put up yards. I just don't think Texas Tech's defense is going to be able to stop them. It's just a more a matter of how much they're able to stop them. I went with a little bit of an exciting bet. It's plus 165, so it's not a free gimme. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, Texas Tech does have a really, really good defense, which is something to keep in mind for this bet. But feels good. 425. Oregon's offense has done it a million times before. With our rushing, our guys can run. Like if we go for 150 yards on the ground, and at that point all we got to do is throw for 275. Yep. It's funny you say this, because we just talked about this. But yeah, Bjorn was talking about how Oregon is 25-0 in games that they have ran for over just 100 yards. So 150 is the target. But like I said, if we hit 150 yards rushing, Dante's only got to throw for 275 yards. He can do that. I mean, his line is set at 250. I can imagine that he could go over.
Yeah, I like your bet because I think it's foolproof, or it's bulletproof because of like the Ducks haven't. They're not great in the red zone. I would say they haven't.
No.
They have some times where they are. They have some times where they have games where it's just they're tough. It's tough to score in the red zone, and they can't afford that. But your betting wise, that it's foolproof for that. If they get the ball between the 20s, they can move the ball in this defense. So
yeah, no, it's like I said, it's a little scary because again, 4-25 does feel like a lot, but hey, I'm here to make money. I'm on a heater right now, 4-1. I'll live with 4-2, but I'll be legendary if I can go 5-1.
Yeah, well, and this could be a fast-paced game too. Like, I don't know if it'll be just all on the ground with the clock chewing. I think this could be a long game where it's just going back and forth both sides. I like that one.
That's something else I was looking at. Like I said, I was considering betting a lot of money on Oregon to win, Oregon money line and Oregon spread. I was considering doing like $100 Oregon money line, $100 on Oregon. I saw 7.5 because it's all I can bet on. I can only bet on underdog. I saw Oregon 7.5, and I was like, I don't know if I like that. But it's like plus 130 odds or something like that. And then I saw the over, and the over was like kind of low. It was like 42.5, something like that. It was kind of low, and I was like,
52.5. But
52.5. That's what it was.
You could find it for different sites.
Yeah, it was like 52.5, and so I was like, I might hit the over there. Oregon can score points. Texas Tech's also probably gonna be able to score points.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've been kind of trying to figure out. Is this game going to be played in the 20s or is it in the 30s? And
yeah,
I think it could. If I had to predict, I would say that it gets off to a bit of a slower start in the first half, first quarter especially. It could be maybe one touchdown in the first quarter, and then it starts to heat up third, fourth quarter as teams kind of figure each other out.
I would agree, but the issue with that is I think Oregon's going to come out a lot. Like Oregon, like I said, we've done it 3 times this year where we've scored on the first 5 possessions straight. I think that it's going to be kind of a similar situation where it's going to be. I think if Oregon can get out to a fast start to begin, we'll be in a good spot. And like I said, Texas Tech players haven't played in a month. The intensity is like it's. I don't know. It's different. It's a little bit of a different intensity when you're playing actually in game. So we'll see. But
yeah, for sure. They haven't been on this big of a stage as a program in program history. This is the biggest game for their program ever. So you'll see how they respond. Baron Morton, he's a quarterback. He's a 5th-year senior, but he's never been on this stage. Nobody's been on this stage before. The Ducks have. They were in the Rose Bowl. They know how much it hurts to lose. I think they're going to come back with a vengeance, and I think, like I said, there will be a touchdown in the first quarter. I think it'll be the Ducks' touchdown. I think they'll be the one to score first, hit first, and we'll see if Texas Tech can punch back.
Should we do some score predictions? I mean, I see Tony here has a good score prediction. Yeah, 24-21. I like it. I respect it.
Yep.
So that's kind of what you were talking about earlier, Bjorn, with your bet of it being 2.5. So you could see Oregon heading a game winner.
Yeah.
But what is your
be your okay? Yeah. So I'm on the record for Ducks Wire saying I said 27-21.
You said 27-21.
Yeah, I think Atticus will hit a couple field goals. They'll score 3 touchdowns.
I mean, you mentioned we're not great in the red zone, so I think that's pretty justified.
Yeah. I think they'll move the ball. I think they could still hit your over on the yards too with that score.
Oh, for sure, they definitely can.
5 scores, they're going up and down the field.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little scared to put money on the over, but just like the 52.5, because it feels like a lot, but it also feels kind of low. Because I mean, if you look at the line from JMU, granted Texas Tech is different than JMU, But like,
Mhm.
I could see it being a shootout for no reason. But I also could see it being like a defensive matchup. So I'm honestly now that I've like talked myself through it, I'm not going to put money on the over or the under. I'm going to stay away.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I said too on Ducks
but
Wire.
the
I,
thing
I
is,
said I would stay away from the over under. I can't figure out which side is going to come out on top. Is it going to be the offenses or the defenses?
the thing is like it doesn't feel like it's going to be a blowout at all. But it feels like this could be a game where Oregon wins by 2 touchdowns, and so that's why I'm going to take. Hold on, I got to do some quick math here. I'm going to say we give up 17 points, and then we win by 2 touchdowns. So what is that? That's 31.
31-17. Yeah, 31-17.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. The thing is our line is a bit different than ASU, or like than ASU's offensive line. So I think hopefully we can really set a strong impact like with the run. If we can establish the run, we'll be in a good spot. And that
Yeah,
will make these bombs that like Levitt threw even more prevalent like in our offense. I mean,
yeah,
Benson is a
and
speedy guy. You can hit him deep. We've seen it all year. Like he's made big catch after big catch, and Dante can deliver. So that's something else that's a really good point.
yeah. Well, and Levitt's by far the best quarterback they've faced this year, and Dante's even better. So,
Oh, much
and
better.
Levitt carved him up, and that was their only loss because Levitt carved him
Mhm.
up. And yeah, Dante's better. That was 3 months ago. So they have
How did
improved since then, I'm sure.
For sure, but
Um,
I mean they had what Jordan Tyson? Did he play? How did he play?
let's see. I mean, I'm sure he had a lot of catches and targets because that's all that Levitt throws to. Yeah, 10 for 105 and a touchdown.
That's a lot of targets, but I mean,
Levitt threw for 319 yards. They held ASU to 75 yards on the ground, but they still won. Um,
again, it
this was also
depends. We'll
with
see.
Will Hammond, not Baron Morton. So that's also something to take into account is that they could easily be 13-0
That's
if
right. They
Baron
had their
Morton had
backup QB,
played.
and that's right. I forgot about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, yeah. Will
So
Hammond's not
we
bad though.
will.
He is super talented, but he's
Yeah,
Baron Morton. Will Hammond threw a pick in this game. Um, Baron Morton doesn't throw picks, so
that's true. That's true. Well, we
we
will see.
can.
I'm excited to
Yeah,
see that game. That's gonna be a fun game. I'm not gonna lie.
absolutely. Yeah. So we can move on to pick. We're gonna kind of walk through a little quick preview and then pick the spread for the other 3 games. So on the 31st is Miami, Ohio State. Miami
Tomorrow
won
night,
10 to
baby.
3. Yeah, tomorrow night. They won 10 to 3 over Texas A&M. Ohio State's had the break since losing to Indiana, so they should come out firing. But I mean, I think this is another O-line, D-line matchup with Ohio State's O-line and
Yep.
Miami's pass rush. They're a physical team. I
Even
kind of in
Miami has a
our
pretty good line.
yeah in our lifetime, like Miami hasn't been a physical team, and
No,
like 20 years ago they were like that was the
we're
standard
known
was
for
that
it.
they were physical, and now I think Cristobal has done an awesome job at bringing that back. And
I would agree. Much as
they
I
are super
don't love Crystal
physical
Ball.
and yeah, I know, but he's recruited well. Kedrick Falk, they're or Ruben Bain. I mean Ruben Bain. He's their top
Yeah,
edge rusher. He's super good. He's going to be a first rounder.
that is a
So I
beast.
think that's going to be super interesting. The line is 9.5. Brendan, which side would you take for that?
I'm taking Miami to cover the spread, or to like. That feels absurd. Like I'm not gonna lie. Out of all of the games, besides Oregon and Texas Tech, I think
Are you about to
that could
say
be
that
the closest
Miami?
one.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Dude, I'm not in love with what Ohio State has done. I don't think Julian Sain is the guy. And to be honest with you, like again, a long break like this might be impactful. I mean, Ryan Day is now calling plays. I mean, listen, they can prove me wrong. They've done it before, but Miami's like they're not a great team, but Carson Beck has been in this position before. He's played football games. Malachi Tony's the best true freshman receiver in the country. I mean, they got Maui Goey on the offensive line, just be a first-round pick. Like, they got dudes up front and on the defensive side of the ball. Like, they're a good team. I mean, they beat Texas A&M, which Texas A&M's like, are they good? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they barely beat them, but we can kind of see, like, depending on how they compete against Ohio State, we'll know if Texas Tech was a good team and got kind of unlucky playing Miami. But I think genuinely out of all the games, that game, for some reason, it will be the closest game. I don't know why, but it will be. Like, as a Duck fan, Mario Cristobal is known for losing games that he should not win. I mean, I'm good. Sorry, he's known for losing games that he should not lose. He will lose games where he's a 14.5 point favorite, and he'll lose games. He will win the games where they are 10.5 point dogs. He's done it before. Like, he did it when Oregon went in and beat Ohio State with Anthony Brown at QB. Like, CJ Riddell right through the middle. Man, CJ Riddell is a legend. But you know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah,
I could see it happening again. He could beat Ohio State.
I would also lean towards Miami 9.5. I don't love it though. I mean, I just don't like. I wouldn't want to put any of my money on Carson Beck because I don't trust him. I don't trust him to play his best in the big moments. That's what he's failed in. He's done great against lack of competition, and then he kind of falters. He had just over 100 passing yards against Texas A&M, so he's not coming in with a great performance.
He's
but
due.
I mean, I guess I just wouldn't. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think it could be like kind of an 8-9 point game. I just don't think that Ohio State is. I mean, you kind of said it. They're not as explosive to win by 2 scores. I think they're more like when Michigan in 2023, where they're not blowing teams out. They kind of grind them out. It's the defense. It's the offense it feels like a dominant effort, but then you look at the scoreboard and it's a 10 to 14 point game. And I think
that's true.
I think that a late touchdown by Miami could swing this. That's why I wouldn't put money on Ohio State minus 9.5. I'd probably lean towards Miami, but I don't love it ultimately.
Yeah, can USC be better out of the Big Ten? Hope oh man, I could only hope.
Yes,
that would be a dream come true. They ruined what we had, which was the Pac-12, which was so beautiful. Oh.
Yeah, well, and losing to TCU is just an embarrassing loss for the Big Ten.
TCU, oh no,
backup quarterback. Yeah,
it wasn't even Josh Hoover.
Tough. I know.
Yeah. Okay. But back to the Miami and Ohio State. I believe there was a world where Miami wins this game, so I am 100% taking the Miami spread. Like, they're gonna cover.
Yeah.
But like, you gotta realize like how much better is Ohio State than Texas A&M, than Notre Dame. Like, they're really not that much better. You know what I mean?
I know, like,
they're kind of they kind of feel like one of those teams that's been unproven and hasn't. I mean, who have they beaten?
Yeah, I know it's a different year, but I can't get out of my head how badly they beat Tennessee last year. And yes, they had more explosion, but I mean, Tennessee came in super confident. Miami's coming off the win; they're going to be confident, and I just think that it's Ohio State. It's still a hot, like, it's. I don't know. I don't see them. I don't see them losing. I see it being a bit of a closer game, and not as close as you probably would think. But yeah, that's a tough one. It's a really interesting game.
I would also lean to pick Ohio State, but again, Ohio State hasn't played football in a month. Like again, they're lacking a little bit here. They might not have the same intensity to start off the game, and if they get punched in the mouth, who knows what will happen? I mean, we saw that with Michigan. Michigan had them on the ropes. They really did in that first half. It's just Michigan has Bryce Underwood, who's not a great QB yet, and so they just couldn't really capitalize on any of the mistakes. But Ohio State was on the ropes. Like, against a good team, they could lose that game very easily. Towards the end of the game, it didn't feel that way, but people were getting excited for Ohio State to lose, and it feels like Miami could go out there and punch them in the mouth, and then they'll be like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" but I think Miami's a better team than Michigan, and so they'll probably be able to keep their foot on the gas a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
only time will tell tomorrow night.
Yep. We can move on to Indiana, Alabama. This is an interesting quarterback matchup. Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza. One has a little bit more help in the run game. Fernando, obviously. Alabama's run game is just porous.
It's abysmal.
And Indiana's defense
abysmal.
is so strong.
It is.
All three
Very
levels. Like, they're going to shut down Alabama's run game. I would be surprised if they ran for over 40, 50 yards. It's just going to be through the air. And that's a lot to put on Ty Simpson. If he has the game of his life, I think they'll keep it close. I think so. It's Indiana -7 right now, which is just a tough number to bet.
I'm smacking the Indiana to cover that. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Indiana wins this game by 2 touchdowns. They do. We're talking about a pretty bad Alabama team. Like,
I see two different scenarios. I can see Ty Simpson having a great game and keeping him in and literally like putting him on his back. Because they are getting a lot of guys back from injury, because that's my other scenario is against Georgia, where they just could not move the ball because of the lack of rushing. As another great secondary, and that's what I could see happening. So they completely just shut them down. But I'm leaning towards Alabama covering. I think Rose Bowl, it's going to bring out the best in Ty Simpson. I think so.
But I mean, his receivers are not great. I mean, they have one of the worst offenses. I think they have the worst offense still remaining in. I mean, I was looking at their numbers. They have the
best passing offense remaining. They have the most passing yards, which is it's their whole offense, but
that's all they can do. But the problem is even their receivers, you watched the Oklahoma game, the receivers were dropping balls. I mean, they got Ryan Williams, who leads the country in drops. And Bernard's good, but he's more of a rack guy, so you should get the ball in his hands and he kind of does stuff, which doesn't really feel like Ty Simpson. I almost said Ty Thompson again. Ty Simpson is going to be the guy that's going to be able to take over. I don't think he's going to have the opportunity. And Bama's got a solid defense ish. I mean, we watched the Oklahoma game. That game was a shootout, and it shouldn't have been, because those were two of the worst offenses in the country, not in the country, but in the playoffs playing against each other. I mean, Bama is right in the middle of the SEC. They're at 7 and 8. Are they really that good offensively, pass yards? I thought they were in the middle of the SEC.
No, they're top in the remaining field in passing offense.
Oh, I don't. I just know that
it's literally
okay.
Only
their offense as a whole is in the middle of the SEC.
Yep.
Still probably in the top 40. So probably top 30, but I think that's going to really hold them back.
I think this is a good job. Yeah, this is definitely an agree to disagree here.
I don't know.
Only time will tell.
Ohio State is so much better than Bama, and Ohio State they kept it close, but Indiana could have won that game by more. I mean, they beat us by 2 touchdowns. We are so much better than Alabama. There's a lot of teams that are a lot better than Alabama.
Yeah, but a one-off game, anything can happen, I think.
But
we'll
this
see.
is this is Kurt Signetti's moment right here. He's not gonna let it slip. He's beating Bama.
I think they're gonna win. I just think Alabama's gonna keep it close and closer than people think.
We'll see. We shall see.
I could see them scoring first possession and then kind of surprising people with how they have the lead.
Well, I mean, they get
on.
But to be fair, though, I mean, Bama does get some of their defensive players back with LT Overton and some other guys who are really good. Mm-hmm. So that is a good point, but I still think 7.5 that's too close. There's no way that they don't win by 10 or 2 touchdowns. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll see. Right. We'll see.
Yeah.
So our last matchup is Ole Miss, Georgia. They've already played before. Georgia beat them 45-37. Gunnar Stockton went off. Trinidad Chambliss also went off before they slowed him down in the second half. This is an interesting rematch here. It's kind of Georgia's since that point, they've kind of found themselves defensively. haven't allowed that many points since then. So
what's the spread on it?
I think it's -6.5 for Georgia. I would put Georgia with the points there. I don't think Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss quarterback, he's going to have the game of his life for them to pull off a win.
Man.
I think even cover.
Did we disagree on all of them?
I guess we did.
I think that Ole Miss wins this game for sure. Like Gunnar Stockton really. Is not him. Gunnar Stockton is not that good. Like he's.
I think so. I think it's the defense. I think it's their defense that they're going to show.
Georgia's always got good defense.
Like Kirby Smart is one of the best, defensive minds in college football.
I mean, they don't have Lane Kiffin there anymore, but dude, they allowed 37 points.
Yeah, but that was 3 months ago though. They haven't. I mean, it hasn't been that type of performance since. Yeah, I'll give you that. He is a beast.
Like, but
he's coming off an injury though, so he's a little. Yeah, he's not going to be at 100.
He's going to be fine. He's going to be juiced up. Like dude's going to be running off adrenaline and what's the other stuff that they use? Cortisone.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like he's not going to feel a thing, dude.
Yeah.
He'll be just fine.
You're right.
But I just think Trinidad Chambliss is much better than Gunnar Stockton. So I think that's gonna...
Yeah, no, I would take that too. I mean, I think he's better overall player. But
okay. Let's say this. I would be willing to take Ole Miss. I don't know if I want to take him outright. I think Georgia will win the game. I do, but
okay.
But wait, was it 6.5? You said
6.5. So they got to win by 2.
I would imagine they cover. I would imagine Georgia wins probably by 3. Like,
okay.
I don't know. Cortisol. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
They knew what we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to be juiced up. You're not going to feel anything. But yeah, it's. I don't know. That's going to be a good game. Honestly, all these games are going to be really good. I think none of them are going to be like blow. I think, to be honest with you, out of any of them that could be a blowout, surprisingly would be us, which I think is the lowest point spread differential. I think we have the highest potential for it to be a blowout, which is kind of random, but I guess we've watched enough of our team to know that we could either blow them out. I don't think there's a way that they blow us out. I think we lose maybe by 3 or 7 at some point, but I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think there's going to be. Yeah, me too. I'm with you with the. I think all these games are going to be close, but I think history has shown that like not all 4 are going to be. There's going to be one surprise blowout. That just happens out of nowhere.
I think there's going to be 2 upsets in here, and I would imagine that it's not us getting upset, and it's probably not Georgia. Or I mean, sorry, it's probably not Indiana. So it could be Ohio State and Georgia. Now I don't think that's. I mean, it's not likely, but
they're on the same side of the bracket too. So
that's what I'm saying. Like it just feels like that side of the bracket could be chaos.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're on the side of the bracket we are, because I think I would rather play Indiana, surprisingly, than those other teams. To be honest with you, I just think Indiana's maybe not as deep as we are. So we'll see how they perform against Alabama. But man, I'm pumped. I'm not gonna lie. It's like Christmas 2.0 for me.
I know, right? Yeah, tomorrow night starts, so I'm hyped too. All right, this is a good pod. Almost an hour and a half. Us, Brody. We thought he'd be in the chat, but he unfortunately wasn't.
We missed
asleep right now. Yeah, we do. We'll have him back for the Texas Tech preview or review.
Review after we win, hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully. We will see. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Oregon Ducks Live podcast on the Voice of College Football.
Fair enough.
All right. Have a good night.